What's up, guys? I'm a little late. I'm not showing anyone watching the video. Oh, but got one guy. I'm a couple minutes late. What's up, Jeff? I'm a couple minutes late. I was fighting this live feed thing. This is the first time I put a live feed together. So I was trying to get my computer out here, and I really want to turn this camera around on this phone so the video looks a little bit better. But all right, I'm back. I may have to move to a different part of the... Is it in and out?
Yeah.
Alright. Man, that don't work out here in the garage. I promise I'm going to answer your questions. Just give me a second. Or BS, whatever you guys want to do. Huh? Doesn't matter. How's the internet in here? See, I can't see comments right now. Hold on, guys. Everything's looking good now. Okay. MacGyver muscle machines. Yeah, I had to come inside. My internet's kind of bad in the garage. I wanted to do it out next to the car, but you guys understand. Do I run a grid view box, zombie racing? No. I run all my electronics off Holley EFI. Thanks, Kenny. All right. Good deal. Yeah, I'm standing up in my room right now. So I gotta listen to my kids. I run BR7EFs. NGK BR7EFs. They're gapped around 18. Oh, I got one fat boy. Another one. Do you think? Sorry, hey guys, these comments are disappearing off my screen for some reason, so hold on. Snowing there, we got 5 inches. Tad Mason. It snowed a little bit here last night, but it all melted today. I actually tore up my yard putting the trailer back in it. Would you recommend the On3 turbo kits for... Sorry guys, I gotta figure this out because I'm losing y'all's comments right now. Can you see them on the computer? I got my wife working the tech portion right now. I wouldn't be able to do any of this without her. At 18 on the 85, yeah, that's correct, zombie racing. I started to get... How much porting to make the factory PI heads flow decent? They flow decent. They flow decent. There was stock valves and no work to the chamber. So, and you guys seen what kind of power those made. But I would say just if you're gonna get a set of ported PI heads extra, like $200 or $300, maybe $500, and just get the full ported combustion chamber and get the fully ported runners. Guys have been pretty fast with those heads. I know of some of those heads that have been in the mid to high 160s in the quarter mile, so the horsepower's there. Wow, 38 viewers. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Really appreciate it. Stock ported heads or Patriot Stage 2s. Corey Autumn, I wouldn't get the Patriots, man. If you're gonna get us, I've heard some mixed reviews on them. They've been around for a long time, but I think there's a better product out there, especially going with modular head shop, somewhere like that. Holley EFI, Nathan Howe. Been thinking about running Holley EFI on my turbo 4 valve without swapping to my Bullet. Any pointers? I'm getting all kinds of comments right now, guys, so let me try to get through them. Tell us what you use to triangulate your drive line. What point of the car did you use to center the drive line? Hold on. I'm losing y'all's comments. There's so many of them. Corey, I mean, you can make good power with the Patriots, like I said, but if you haven't bought them yet, I wouldn't recommend buying them. I would recommend spending the extra money and getting trick flows, honestly, if you have the extra money, because they're going to be able to support a lot more power than even the most hogged out PI head. Let me see. Oh, here we go, live chat. All right. Now I can scroll through y'all's comments. So. Here you go. Oh, I got a computer in here now too. All right. Back, guys. The internet's kind of bad. I apologize. Y'all just bear with me. I'm working through these technical difficulties. I may need to move even closer to my supposedly good internet router that AT&T installed in my house. Most of MacGyver can see me again. It's working good now. All right, guys, I'm working through the comments, so y'all bear with me. Muhammad Khalil, yeah, you can run the stock cast crank with some good rods. I've seen a lot of guys say up to around 750 to 800 horsepower. Get everything balanced, and you could probably spin it to 7,500 RPM and be okay. The driveline question, body shot Jake. No, I did not answer that question. 1 second. You guys are throwing a lot of questions at me. I didn't expect them to come this fast. I'm on my computer right now. Stock crank is good for 700 wheel horsepower. Yeah, roughly. All right, I'm working for the top down now. I answered how much porting to factory heads need to flow decent. Pretty much all the porting. Scott Roxby asked that. Opinion on the new GT500? I think it's pretty cool. I don't make enough money to own the new GT500, so it's more of just a just something that I think is really cool, and I can kind of dream about owning, but unless my YouTube career pops off, I'll never make enough money to own one. Hopefully I'll be able to live vicariously through someone that does get one. Maybe watch them on YouTube or something. I will say the one thing that kind of like threw me off, and I hope Ford is kind of underrating it, and I understand the new GT500 isn't a drag race car, but to go 11s with 700 horsepower, I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. Hopefully Ford's underrating it. I feel like it should be able to run 10s at least with that much horsepower at the weight it's probably going to weigh, with the twin disc automatic and all that good stuff and all the technology that's in the car. What's up, Fire Chicken 79? All right, I'm working my way down these comments for guys that are just joining in. What up, Jeff? Got Jeff, aka Boosted Vert, on the live feed right now. Any reason you haven't done a tubular front end from the strut towers forward yet? Is what Corey asked. Yeah, Corey, the reason I haven't done that is because it knocks you out of a lot of streetcar classes. I run a lot of streetcar classes, and I want to be able to stay in those this year, so I'm going to keep the stock frame rails strut tower forward. What up, Crush Factor? Shepherdsville, Kentucky. You ain't too far away. Mr. Elastics asked what plugs do I run. It's the BR70Fs, NGK. Alright guys, I'm going to work my way down this list and I'll get down to y'all's comments. Fat Boy Racing Night, yeah, I'm working my, like I said, I'm working my way down the comments. Got the Miller Lite right here. Brian Rawls asked if I would recommend the On 3 turbo kit or the Hellion turbo kit. Brian, I would recommend the On 3 kit. I don't like the Hellion kit because it uses the stock manifolds, and you have to run a crossover from one side, or actually from both manifolds, around and come back up to the turbo. It's just unnecessary piping, in my opinion. The quality is probably a little better on the Hellion kit, but the quality with the On 3 is there as well. I got a video on here if you haven't seen it, kind of talking about some of the stuff you need to upgrade in the On 3 kit, and it's mainly the remote mount oil filter lines and the turbo feed. The turbo feed line is actually good. The turbo drain line, you want to upgrade from a rubber line to like a braided stainless steel line with AN fittings. So I would recommend the On3 kit over the Hellion kit, as crazy as that sounds. The design of the On3 kit is better, in my opinion. Been thinking about running Holley EFI on my turbo 4 valve that I swapped into my 01 Bullet. Any pointers? Nathan Howe asked that question. As far as pointers, for that setup, I would say just go with the Holley injectors. Go with, like, if you're gonna run an E85 and you got enough fuel system, you plan to go that route, just get the Holley 160s. They're a lot cheaper than like a comparable high impedance injector, like an Injector Dynamics or something like that. For your oil pressure and your fuel pressure, get the name brand Holley sensors. A lot of people run the pressure transducers off eBay. They're cheap, but they do not last as long. They will go bad sooner rather than later. So for fuel and oil, be sure to get the good Holley sensors. If you've got the money, I would say try to go to an LS coil setup, but if you don't, you can push stock coils pretty far. This year I'm gonna see how far I can push the stock coils. I know guys have pushed them well over 1,000 horsepower. You just have to get the gap really tight on the spark plugs to push those. And don't get that giant freaking Holley screen. Just get the 7-inch touch screen. There's no need for the giant touch screen. Zombie Racing, yeah, for the spark plug gap, that's gapped at .018 on the on E85. Tad Mason asked if I ever thought about coming to I-57. Tad, I'm not sure where that's at, but I would be interested in coming if you shoot me a message. I haven't added a lot of people on Facebook lately. Shoot me a message on Instagram if you have it, or just get back to me in the comments. Fat Boy Racing, yeah, I think Sarah might have put SpongeBob on for the kids because they were hogging up all my internet on YouTube. So, what up, Will? Body Shot Jake asked what I used to triangulate the driveline, i.e. what point on the car did you use to center the driveline and what driveline angle are you running? It's a lot to talk about in the video, but if you look up Team Z's YouTube, they actually do a really good explanation of how to square up your rear end. You basically want to find a spot on the bottom of the car that is going to be the same on both sides, that you can measure from the axle to the point of the car, and then, like Body Shot Jake said, you can you do the triangulation method. I didn't do that. I just measured from a known straight point on each side of the car and made sure the axle tubes were an even distance on each side of the car, and then set my jam nuts on the lower control arms. Kenny Pemberton said, I'm running 22 pounds and the only change I've made was going from PI to trick flow heads. Now my spark is blowing out at 5,200 RPM. Kenny, that's because you're making more power now. You need to gap the spark plugs down. What did you do with your ported heads? I sold them to my buddy Joshua Lawrence up north. His car actually looks just like mine. It's going to basically be a copy of my old build. So I don't know his Instagram name off the top of my head, but I will get it back to you guys. Y'all go and follow him. Zombie Racing said, I was told to gap my spark plugs at 45. I have a bog. I heard guys going 18 for that reason, but was told bigger, better spark for E85. That's backwards, Zombie Racing. If you're unless you're NA, that's still a really loose gap for NA. I would if you're boosted, I would say you need to be somewhere around 20 to 18 on your spark plug gap. What that does is it gets the gap smaller between the electrode and the forget the name of it, but the gap on your spark plug is smaller, and it makes it harder for that spark to be blown out whenever there's pressure inside the cylinder. I don't know how to slow the comment feed down. I'm still figuring this thing out. What up, Sergio? Tyson asked, is a Texas necessary for building a mean? Can you see me on YouTube right now? Because it's not buffering on here, but people are still commenting. Is a Texas necessary? Oh, it's giving you a commercial. Is a Texas necessary for building a mean 2-valve for street use? I want to get the 500 to 600 horsepower range. No, Tyson, the Texas is not necessary. The main benefit to the Texas is it is stronger when you get into the higher horsepower levels compared to the iron block. But the big advantage to the Texas is you're going to drop by 80 pounds off the front of your car, which is good for drag racing. You want to try to get some weight off the front end of the car to help with weight transfer. So, but no, you can absolutely make that power on an iron block all day long, no issues.
It would be easier to use my phone to read comments.
Yeah. I was on.
Let me shut this down.
All right, guys, just still working through the comments. Y'all bear with me. Muhammad Khalil, I think I answered this already, but I'll answer it again. What do I think about running the stock cast 2-valve crank with good rods and pistons? Yeah, like I can't remember who stated it already, about 700 rear wheel horsepower is probably a safe bet on the cast crank. And trust me, a true 700 rear wheel horsepower is a lot faster than a lot of guys think. Don't let the internet fool you. 700 horsepower is fast. We're all here for the gang bang, Scott Roxby said. What's up? Y'all forgive me if I'm not pronouncing your names correctly, guys. Kunal. I got a South Georgia education, so I apologize. Kunal Singh, hey buddy, how's it going? I can't wait to see the 2-valve running again. It's going pretty good, brother. I can't wait to see it running either. I got a lot of work to do still, but I'm really excited for to see what she's gonna do this season. Mike, do you recommend a certain piston ring brand running 20 to 30 psi? I have Hastings now, but thinking of swapping for my fresh engine build. I really like Total Seal, man. I really don't know of anyone else unless you buy a certain piston that comes with the ring set, but I like the Total Seal, and for that kind of boost in horsepower range, I like the stainless top ring and the Napier cut second ring. That's a really good ring combination for that kind of horsepower. So Total Seal, my recommendation. What kind of rear, Jay Lejeune, what kind of rear end setup am I running? It's a narrowed 8.8 rear end. It has new Ford 9-inch ends on it. Strange 35 spline axles, Strange 35 spline spool, 355 rear gear, and 5/8 studs out at the wheels. Kunal Singh said the stock crank's good for 700 wheel horsepower. Yes, sir, right around there. Rods are definitely the weak link in the 2-valve. Fat Boy Racing, my old lady would kill me if I put nitrous on the car. Trust me, I've thought about it. What up, Fire Chicken 79? I think I already said what's up, but I'm just reading down these comments again. What sleeves am I going to put in the block? I I want to say that they are a Power Bore is the brand. They actually use those sleeves in a lot of truck pulling engines and stuff. So they're a little bit cheaper than a Darton sleeve, and they're just as good. No, Boosted Vert still ain't got his car together.
Have you seen the iPad?
I haven't. I appreciate it, Mastic's Finest. I just like to share the knowledge, man, because there's a lot of people out there that the stuff they do know, they hold it really tight, and they're not really willing to help anyone out. None of this stuff is a secret. You can pretty much ask me anything you want, and I'll generally give you the answer. So.
Thank you.
Scott, I don't think I'll probably be coming anywhere near Northeast Pennsylvania. It's just a little too far north for me. Anthony said, what pistons and rods do I suggest with stock crank and an on turbo kit? I would highly recommend the Molnar H-beam rods. Really nothing else. Get those. Those are going to be able to handle all the power that you can put to that engine. Yep, Miller Lite, Adam. Jay LeJune, he said, my car's on a different level, but he would love to see me eat up on demonology. He's constantly beating up on Ford and Mustangs. Hey man, we can line something up. If he wants some, we can put him in the beams. I don't think I've seen his channel. I may have to go check it out after this. Yep, exactly what Kuno said. He said get it on 3 piping without the turbo and get a different turbo. Yeah, it's a good bet. The on 3 turbos are, I never had an issue out of mine. And kind of hit or miss, you're taking a chance. You can get a Precision 7675 for fairly cheap now. They have the cast wheel version. Bill said he has an 012 valve. How hard is it to get 700 horsepower? You're going to need rods and pistons, ported heads, cams, probably an eddy intake, and probably a 76, 75 Precision or something like that, a turbo around that area will get you 700 horsepower all day long. It's not really hard, it's just money and time. Muscle MacGyver Machines asked, where am I getting my oil feed for my turbo? It was coming from my oil filter block that goes on the side of the engine block. There's a little port I just kind of tapped into on the bottom, and I have my oil feed coming from there up to the top of the turbo. Crush Factor said, did you modify the trick flow heads you're using, and are you using the 185 or 195cc versions? The only modification I'm doing to them is I'm putting in a different valve than the trick flow specific valves in the heads. They're the 44cc chamber, but they're the 185s. I'm going with a Manley stainless intake valve and a Manley Inconol exhaust valve to handle the extra heat from the high horsepower and the turbo. But no port work or anything like that are going to be done on the heads. Benton, Illinois? Yeah, I could probably come up there, Tad. Are there any kind of small tire races or streetcar type small tire races that go on up there? Maybe even like some no prep stuff. A carb conversion on a 2 valve, Mach 2.3 asked. Man, I'm not a fan of going carb. with the technology that's available today, I just think that there's a lot more potential in EFI. I just don't think the carb's worth it. That's me. I know of at least one carbed 2-valve. Micah Monteleone's car is a carbed nitrous-fed 2-valve, and it's very fast. I think he's been 540s. Thanks, Adam. Oh yeah, man, that's always gonna be Ford powered. Mike, yeah, man. There's a bunch of local drama going on here. Yeah, I don't know if I want to come out that way, Kuno, because all those exhaust laws, man. I got the bumper exit exhaust. They'd probably pull me over as soon as I freaking pulled out onto the highway. California is a beautiful state, man, but they got some retarded laws out there. DRT Dino said, how much power can the stock 2-valve bottom end hold, and how much will it hold with rods and pistons? The stock bottom end, I wouldn't push past 450 rear wheel horsepower, and I would really prefer to put it on E85 because the E85 is more forgiving than gasoline. And then if you put rods and pistons in there, then you're going to be at the limit of the stock cast crank, and you're going to be around 700 rear wheel horsepower, somewhere in that area. Dylan Jackson, I really want to come down to Ozark Raceway Park, man. Ever since I've watched a lot of Urban Hillbilly videos, YouTube channel. I've seen all kinds of racing going on down there. I actually have a good friend that I used to work with. He since left work here and has moved back up to Illinois. And he was always talking about Ozark Raceway, man. So I'm definitely going to come up there at some point. I would like to come up there this year, but we'll see. Yep, 045 is a really bad gap on the spark plug. Quick fuel carb NA. I don't know, man. I'm not a carb guy. I appreciate it, Body Shot Jake. Anytime, brother. Yep, that's right, Kuno. Man, like I said, probably mispronouncing your name. I'm just gonna call you Sing. It's easier for me to say Sing. The cast iron block will easily handle 1,000 horsepower. The Blue 2-valve GT said he's doing an on-3 setup with a VSR 7875. He's trying to run 10s on a stock bottom end. Any tips to help me achieve that with a TR 3650? Don't dump the clutch. Don't put an aggressive clutch in it because you're going to break the input shaft on that piece of junk 3650. You're going to need a lot of power, man, because you're not going to be able to shift that 3650 hard because you're going to break it. Schrader Performance out of North Carolina, he went pretty fast with a stock 3650. But it's definitely on borrowed time. And man, I wouldn't push that thing more than probably 500 rear wheel horsepower, and I wouldn't do that without a good ECU like Holley EFI, something that has good closed loop fuel control and has the ability to put fail safes in the computer. So if you do have an issue, it's going to save the engine, because one little hint of detonation at that kind of power and that bottom end is done. And then Eduardo Chavez, 475 MMR stroker with 971 compression, installing on 370mm turbo. That's a pretty good setup. What range PSI should I run to be safe and also make power? It's according to what fuel you're running, man. I mean, you could run. I mean, hold on. You're getting a phone call. Rhonda?
Here. I'll call him back later.
What range PSI should I run to be safe and also make power? Man, if you got a built bottom end, I mean, you can make as much power as you want. I really wouldn't go above probably 25, 30 pounds just because you start running into some tuning challenges, especially with the stock ECU. I wouldn't, man, I mean, I would say you'd probably be happy with 600 rear wheel horsepower. It's pretty fast. What does the flux capacitor do? It gives you the instant ability to run 8-second quarter miles. Yep, I got another one, Fat Boy Racing. I'm just reading your comment, brother. Man, I still have not made it to the bottom of the comments. So I'm not like actively talking to you guys, so I apologize. Zachary Salazar, what plugs would you recommend for and what gap for a built 2-valve making like 320 to 350 with 100 to 200 shot of nitrous on top of that? Probably the BR70F plug is going to be your best bet for that particular setup. And the gap, I mean, you could probably get away with what they come in the box, like around a 0.25 gap on those BR7 plugs. What's up, 98 Snake Horse? How's it going, Aristio Hernandez? What's up? How important do I think it is to have a good program? And what is your process as you got the car ready at the track, and what notes do you take to review after the day is over? Is what. Oh, what's up, Roy? It's everything, man. Consistency is key. It's like, did you guys if for some of y'all that are my age or maybe older, man, I can't remember the name of what the TV show was called. It was Malcolm in the Middle. On one of the episodes of Malcolm in the Middle, their dad is bowling, and I want to say he was trying to bowl a perfect game. And what he did, every time he went up to bowl, is he did the exact same thing every time that he went up to bowl. And he would bowl a strike every time, up until, I want to say it was the last frame. He goes up, and I can't remember what happened, but his normal routine got messed up, and it threw him off because he didn't do everything the same way he did the other 9 times before, or however many times it was, and he ended up missing out on his perfect game. So consistency is key. You do the same thing every time you go up. However, whatever that is, you have to figure that out for yourself. Also, preventative maintenance. I work with aircraft, and preventative maintenance is huge because if the aircraft breaks when it's in the air, it's going to crash and you're going to die. If your car breaks going down the road, you could pull off on the side of the road. So I take what I know with aircraft and I take that to my race program, and I'm really big on preventative maintenance. So I'm always checking over the car before a big race. I'll jack the car up, I'll check all the bolts, all the nuts, make sure everything's tight. Basically go over the entire car and check and make sure that there's nothing that can fall off the car or tear up to cause me to lose a race. Mike asked, when's the fire update? He just got in. I don't know, man. I'm hoping to have the car done by the middle of March, hopefully. I'm kind of at the mercy of the machine shop on the block and the heads right now. So as soon as that stuff gets here and the pistons get here, I'll be able to get the rotating assembly balanced, and I'll be able to put everything together. Fat Boy Racing said, do I have full-length subframe connectors? Yes, sir. I have the Maximum Motorsports full-length subframe connectors. Randolph Niles said, what total timing do I run? On the 850 passes, I was on like 29 to 30 pounds of boost, and my timing up there was around 13 degrees of timing. Zombie Racing did a Mercury swap 2 valve and nitrous, but was thinking of throwing a single turbo on it. Car's supposed to run 1040, just working a few bugs out, so I appreciate it on plugs. Yeah, no problem, brother. I would definitely get rid of that nitrous and toss a turbo on there. It's a lot less work, man. Demon has no chance against my 2 valve. Yeah, any Demon, man, I would blow him out of the water. I don't even think there's a hopped up Demon that's been 850s. Maybe. I don't know. This new build is going to go definitely faster than 850s. Yeah, Demonology kick his ass. I mean, I'm down, man. I'm down to run anyone. Yeah, no problem, Jay. Good luck with your 97 Thunderbird, brother. I hope everything goes well for you. Vortec 2 valve asked where I have my Holley ECU mounted. I have it mounted where the stock ECU used to mount, in the passenger side kick panel area. Tyson asked, if you were to do a budget 2 valve motor build, where would you start? Top end, then later bottom and boost? I guess it's according to what you want to do, Tyson. I think you could easily do, if you want to do budget. Budget is kind of a loose term, because a budget's really just how much you have to spend. So you could have anywhere from $1,000 to spend to $9,000 to spend. If I was trying to get the most bang for the buck and I had enough money for a turbo kit, I would just toss the turbo kit on there, make like 400, 450, and have fun with it for a while, and then save up money for a bottom end. Get rods and pistons, try to source a Cobra crank, and then get that put together. And then later on down the road, if you can get the money for some ported heads or port the heads that are on it, do that and throw some cams in it. And you can sorry, I'm getting calls on my wife's phone. And you could easily, you know, make 700, 800, 900 horsepower when you get to that point. 98 Snake Horse retracted his message. Thanks, Crush Factor, man. Hopefully the subs start rolling in, man. I'm not a real flashy YouTuber, man. I just kind of get out there, record what I'm doing, and make it into a video. I'm not really huge on editing, and I've just started to put thumbnails in my videos, and they're not really the best. I'm getting a little bit better at it. I know that catches attention. I'm trying to work a little bit on my titles. Not clickbaity, but kind of make them like a headline type title, so they're kind of interesting and people want to click on them and watch them, and then hopefully more people will come and subscribe to my channel. Fat Boy Racing said, money, blood, sweat, and tears. I'm sure that was something to do with how to make the car fast. That's absolutely true. Mostly street cars. That's good, man. Yeah, I'd definitely come up there and run, Tad. For sure, man. I think it was I-57 drag strip. Yeah, Fat Boy Racing. I definitely got a good old lady, man. She supports this this hobby. I couldn't ask for anyone better. Man, this video is going longer than I thought it was. I can't believe some of y'all are still watching it. Maybe I'll make it to the end of these comments. Would I consider going 5.4 2 valve? No, man. It's just got a longer stroke. It may make a little torque down low, but your piston speed's higher. The 2 valve really needs a larger bore to unshroud the intake valve, make the head flow better. The 5.4 is wider, it takes up more room. It's just not worth it in my opinion. I think you can go just as fast with the 4.6. It's been known that open exhaust cause cancer in laboratory rats in California. Oh, that's funny. No, Adam, I'm not located near Pennsylvania. I'm out of Tennessee, brother. Yeah, no problem, Bill. I'm always willing to help, man. Stain Bang 601 said, come to Louisiana. We put on mod motors versus LS no prep. I'd be down to come down there, man. I see the street race channel. I think his name's Billy Hoskins. He went down to the pad down there and did some racing. I would love to come down there sometime, whenever my money flow gets a little bit better and I'm able to go more places. Boosted 04 GT said, what are your thoughts on the trick flow 90-pound valve spring setup would be a Vortex? I guess I trimmed around 15, 16 pounds. Cams, not sure if the stock 9-pound springs will be enough. No, they will not. You need to go to at least the 125-pound springs, Boosted 04 GT. You're going to get valve float with those 90-pound springs. CG Fabrication makes forward-facing headers. Yes, that's the headers that I have on my car now. Make sure to do a compression test on stock engine before going boost. Yes, absolutely. I can believe that. Stain Bang's 601 900 at the wheels, most definitely, on the stock cast iron block. Steve, I'm going to be technical here. Technically, these modular motors don't have lifters. They're called lash adjusters, and I just use the stock ones. They work fine. How much would a stock 4R70 hold up? You can do like a J mod in a stock 4R70, do a better cooler, and do a good converter, and you could probably run 500 to 600 horsepower on a stock 4R70 all day long. Or a 4R75 for sure. Boosted vert, I guess people LS swap because they're cheap, man. That's cool, Fat Boy Racing. So you're out of North Carolina. 470 is a beast. Jay, I love Cletus McFarland's channel, man. I watch all his stuff. Try to take some pointers. The dude is super freaking interesting. His videos are interesting. They're easy to watch. They're not boring. He really knows what content to put in the videos and what content to leave out. And those guys are always having a good time and they're fun to watch. I envy them. It would be awesome to hang out with them at some point in time. I just haven't got a chance. And honestly, they've got so many people trying to talk to them, and it's just, I would hate to go in there and annoy them. Anyone can build an LS. That's why they're everywhere. Building a mod motor takes some know-how. Yeah, absolutely. Stain Bang 601. Am I going to go after Zach Freeman's goals eventually? Zach Freeman's going a little bit more wild than I am, a little more crazy. I think he's going to be lighter. He's going to have a bigger turbo, and he's going to have better flowing heads, and I think he's going to have more cubic inches. So I don't think my car is really going to have nothing for Zach's car once he gets it sorted out. His car's going to be very fast. I would look for that car to break the 2-valve record, or at least tie it. And I think the 2-valve record right now is like 7.5 in the quarter mile, or 7.6, something like that. My car probably goes 790s at the fastest. Corey, whenever we were mounting the motor, we started with it in the factory position, and then we put the motor plates on and the mid plate on, and we bolted the tabs to them, and they were off just a little bit. So what we did is we just lined the motor up where the tabs were on the frame rails evenly, and we put like I want to say it's like a 2 or 3 degree back angle on the engine to keep the driveline geometry correct. Yeah, first spark plug line up with center of front wheels. It's somewhere right there. I'd have to go look at it. I didn't really move it too far forward or backwards. It kind of stayed in the same area to keep the weight distribution the same. Because when you start moving weight around in the car, you have to relearn the suspension all over again. Francisco said he loves my build. What's my opinion on the on3 kit itself, excluding the turbos? and about how much horsepower is it capable of and what Holley ECU are you running. I really like the On3 kit. It's a good kit. I would highly recommend it. It's capable of making at least 900 wheel horsepower because that's what I made with it. Probably more if I would have turned the boost up. And I'm running the Holley HP ECU. Matt Miller says they're a good rotating assembly that doesn't cost a fortune to make. 600 to 650 the tires. That's going to be reliable and not grenade when tuned properly. The cheapest rotating assembly I could tell you to buy and still have good parts is I would get like an 0304, or I'm sorry, like a Cobra crank. It's forged. I would get the Molnar Power Adder H-beam rods. Those are like $500. And then I would go like a set of Wiseco Pistons. Those are about $700, and they come with wrist pins and rings. That's going to be a really good combo that can hold well over 1,000 horsepower. Not well over, I'd say 1,000, 1,100 horsepower all day long. You may have to upgrade the wrist pins if you really want to push it, but you see how much power people make on stock LS stuff. Fatboy Racing said that I do the ring gaps at 26 or 24. Explain so they know. I did 25 or 26 on the ring gaps, and basically when you get the rings, I got Total Seal rings, of course. They have a on the instructions they have where you multiply the bore diameter by a certain number based off what horsepower you want to run and what fuel you're running, and that'll kind of give you where you need to set the ring gap at. And it came out to 0.25 on my rings. And I heard a saying, I've actually heard a lot of stuff from my friend Troy lately. He went up to PRI and he got an engine builder seminar that he was in up there, and he was saying that there was a test where they kept the rings tighter and they made the gap really, really, really loose on them, and there was no loss of horsepower. The blow-by went up. So I mean, don't make them too tight. And of course, if you make them too loose, you're going to have a lot of blow-by. So I would just go by what the ring manufacturer recommends, honestly. I did hear saying the other day, and it's like I've heard it about oil pressure, main bearing or your bearing clearances, and your ring gap. It goes if you gap your rings too loose, only you know. If you gap your rings too tight, everyone knows. And that's the same thing with main bearing clearances. If you or your bearing clearances is if you make your bearing clearances too loose, only you're gonna know. And if you make your bearing clearances too tight, everyone's gonna know. What spark plug and also what gap do I recommend for the 70mm On3? A TR6 or a BR7EF, and go around like 25 gap. Eduardo. What fuel setup for a built 2-valve with on 376, 75? Man, I would go with like a or twin Walbro 450s in the tank, like a -10 feed, -8 return, and probably like a 1300cc injector on the 85. We should run our cars one day. My Kenny Bell 2-valve and your turbo 2-valve. Yeah, definitely, Sing. As I said, I'll call you Sing because I can't pronounce your first name, brother. But yeah, definitely, man. I mean, I probably couldn't come out to California and do it, but that would be cool, man. We could go cruise, run down the strip, BS, have a good time. Yeah, Clutus and Leroy is a great channel. I mean, yeah, we could work on the steps, Fatboy Racing, for that race. The turbo would definitely have an advantage over the Kenny Bell. Rudolph Niles, I run a MMR 475 900, making 602 rear wheel horsepower with a maxed out V1 S trim. Just swapped to a 2200 SL, looking for 700 rear wheel horsepower using old school 2-valve SVO. Any experience with these heads? The old school SVO heads are very, very good heads. I don't think you're going to have any issue running 700 horsepower with those heads. I had a new stroke kit in my 2-valve now. I have poor mixes. How can I do? Himbert Gomez, I don't know what you mean by that comment. Crush factor in marriage, and this takes a very good woman. I was married twice. I'm officially cured. Laugh out loud. Kinnicky Lee doing a 5.4 4-valve swap. 95 GT block will be forged Navy heads, ported runner adaptive plates to a Boss 302 intake. My question is, with the 85, what pumps would you suggest or kit? I would go with like twin 450s or twin 465 Walbro intake pumps at a minimum, 3. Or if you want to sump the tank, I would go to like a MagnaFuel 4303. Or if you got a lot of money to spend, I would go to like the new Aeromotive brushless eliminator pump. That will be the only pump you will ever need. $10,000 into the block. Yeah, if you're trying to be conservative, man, just go with the in-tank pumps like twin Walbro 465s. Yeah, Billy did really good, man. Stangbang 601. He was that little S10 gets down, man. I'd like to race him one day. I'll probably get my ass kicked, but it'd be a good time. Exhaust fumes cause cancer in rats. We need more exhaust fumes in Washington State then. Rats are everywhere. Ted, I really hope this is the year I get some 7s, man. I think I'm going to have the power to do it. I'm just going to have to get the tune-up right and get the car set up right. Rusty, what's up, man? I'm late getting to your comment, man. I apologize. Yeah, man, I had a good time down there at SGMP, and it was good to meet you, man. Definitely going to be back down there this year for Mod Nats. And if I come through, I'll definitely have to hit you up. Himbert Gomez had a Vortex Pro Charger, 15 PSI Vortex. Ford Racing Green Injectors. I should be in the 8.0s this year, maybe 7.9s. Hell yeah, Stangbang 601. When I switched to Holly HP, did you have to have the car tuned, or is it user-friendly enough to tune it yourself? Vortec 2 valve asked. If you get a base startup file, it's not that bad to tune if you have a little bit of tuning knowledge and you can kind of figure things out on your own. That's what I did. It's not that bad. It's a lot easier than the stock ECU is. What turbo do I have now? Dylan Jackson asks. I have a BorgWarner S480. It's a SXE 80 millimeter. It's a billet 80 millimeter compressor, and it has the 96 exhaust wheel with the 132 AR. It's a T6 turbo. Rear wheel horsepower is definitely less than engine horsepower. D. Morin said, "Are you the car to beat at Clarksville Cash Days on June 1st?" Asking for a friend. This is what's up, Marlon? I don't know, man. We'll see. I runner up last time. The thing I like about Clarksville is it doesn't matter how much horsepower you have to a point. There's only so much power that track can take, and it really levels the playing field out. We'll see, man. I'm coming for that win. I definitely got a lot to live up to based off some of the stuff I've been talking about this year, but we'll get it done, I think. Yeah, Fat Boy Racing, rear wheel horsepower is a lot less than engine horsepower. The car, yeah, the car's making around 1,050 at the flywheel. Dylan Jackson, I'm from Tennessee. Hey, you guys hold up 1 second. My phone's starting to die. I don't want this video to cut out on y'all. Technical difficulties. See, I can't edit this stuff out on my video. All right, we got power. All right, back to these. Yeah, 1100, a little more maybe at the flywheel. Can you do a video on your full setup now? Dylan Jackson, I did a video on the full setup. It's called What It Took to Run 850s. It's me just blabbering on for a long time. Go check it out, and I talk about all the stuff on that setup. Once I get this setup done, I'll talk about everything on it, and then you guys follow along, and as I keep adding stuff to it. I actually got some new brakes today, some aerospace brakes that I'm gonna be putting on, and I'm gonna weigh how much those weigh compared to the stock brakes, and do a video on it and see how much those brakes pull off weight-wise off the car. He's only a high 8-second truck, but on the street he's fast. He's a great dude to get to know. Yeah, definitely. Stangbank 601 was talking about Billy Hoskins from Street Race Channel. Man, that truck gets down on the street. There's definitely a big difference in how fast a car is on the track and how fast a car is on the street. I know from personal experience. I went to that Beyond 660 race up in Paducah, Kentucky this past season, and it was at the end of the track past where all the rubber is, and it's bare asphalt, and they would not let you do a traction compound burnout, and it was very hard to get down that. So that's exactly how the road would be, except more narrow. So it was pretty sketchy when you try to put any kind of power down on that surface. So props to guys like Billy that can go out there and run that fast in those types of conditions, because I can't do it. I got a lot of learning to do to even get close to those guys. It's kind of why I don't get out there and mess with them. Do I have a plan? Marco said, do I have a plan to switch to a different power plant? Not on this car, brother. I'd like to do a 4-valve in the future because they definitely make more power, but that's far off into the future. James SSR 23 said better than NFL playoffs. Hey man, that means a lot, brother. Thank you. The game sucks. Yeah, you guys probably gonna crucify me, but I don't really keep up with football. What size pistons are best for stage 3 blower cams on a 2-valve with the Cobra block board 20 over? And can my factory transmission hold the power? It's a 5-speed. Adrian asked. I would definitely go to a piston that gives you around 9.5 to 1 to 10 to 1 compression ratio. And your factory transmission can hold that power. You just got to be easy on it. You can't shift it real hard. You can't dump the clutch on sticky tires or you're going to break it. Forte 2-valve asked, does my TH400 have a stock gear set? Yes, it does have stock gear set in it. James said he hooked up a fuel pressure gauge to the 2-valve, turned the key before start, and still had 0 fuel pressure. Adrian, I do have a scramble button set up on the leash boost controller. I've never used it, really. Had 32 pounds at idle. Sounds like the fuel pump's going out, James. Eli Gonzalez asked what my thoughts were on the 3-valve WAP blocks. They're fairly strong, just not quite as strong as the Tex did, but I wouldn't be hesitant to push one to 1,000 horsepower. Killer 97 asked how much boost I was running on the supercharger setup. I think I was running like 12 pounds on that setup. It wasn't making a whole lot of power. Yeah, the S10 hooks. Yeah, it doesn't have much for rear suspension. It just transfers weight really well. Which it seems like the S10s and the Blazers and stuff, they have that high center of gravity, and they're really bad at doing wheelies, but that's great on the street where you want to transfer weight to the rear tires. Dylan Jackson, I did like the on-3 kit. Sting Bang said that we're going to call my car a crackhead because it runs like a New Orleans crackhead. Can't catch them suckers, they're fast. Oh, man. That's funny. Hell yeah, thanks Marco, man. Stay safe, brother. Corey Alden asked what compression ratio I run. The old setup was 10-to-1 compression. The new setup is going to be 11.5-to-1 compression ratio. Benji Browning, I am running custom cams from Todd Warren. Look him up, NASVT Cams on Facebook. Probably the best custom cams that you can get for the modular platform. Adrian lives in Memphis, Tennessee. Would love to check the car out one day if that's cool. Yeah, that's fine, man. Hit me up. What resource materials do you recommend for 2-valve Mustangs? Books, forum, Facebook groups. Love your videos, by the way, and thanks for doing this live chat. Yeah, no problem, Tyson. As far as resources, definitely get like a Chilton or a Haynes manual for your basic rebuild stuff. As far as Facebook groups go, I would go to Mom Motor Mustangs tech page, and I would go to NASVT Cams tech pages. Those are going to be your two best sources of information out there on Facebook. I don't really use forums anymore because Facebook took all that stuff over, so I can't recommend any forums. What's the lift and duration on my cam? That's the Muscle MacGyver machines. That is one thing that is somewhat secret that I can't really talk about. Just because this is something that Todd did for me, and I just not at liberty to talk about them. I could tell you the lift on them was around, what was it? I can't even remember, honestly, the specs on them. The lift was around 5.575 on the intake and 0.575 on the exhaust, I think. And the duration was above 230 on both the intake and exhaust. Stang Net Corral, those are good forums I used to use. Anyone that makes an aftermarket 8-rib tensioner for 2 valves, I think the only one is the Thump RR tensioner. Fatboy Racing said, what's my day job? Fatboy Racing, I babysit grown men for a living. Stain Bank 601 runs stock suspension set up on the Maverick and cuts 128 60 foot all day. Stain Bank, what kind of stock suspension does the Maverick have? Is it leaf spring? Corey Sabata is building his 2 valves slowly but surely. It's a 97 bottom end, PI swap and cammed. Going to check out the Monar rods and try to stick with the non-PI heads. How much boost would you suggest? Just a street car. I would tell you, man, I would try to go to the PI head. They're a lot better than the non-PI head. But if you can't, I mean, stick with the non-PI head. Boost is really just going to be based off of how your heads flow, because horsepower is going to be different based off how good your heads flow. I would shoot for like maybe 500 horsepower in a fun street car. Dylan Jackson would love to get together sometime. He's out in Missouri, so not crazy drive. I got silver 2-valve with a lot coming. Hell yeah, Dylan. Just hit me up, man. I may head out to Missouri sometime and race out there. Do you think a TH400 or Power Glide is better transmission for a 2-valve? I'm Vortex set up on 25 psi boost to make 730 horsepower to the tires. Vortex 2-valve, I think in your case, a TH400 would be better. When you start getting up into really high horsepower stuff, the Power Glide is easier to manage because it has the it really lowers your starting line ratio and it makes it easier to hook up and carry the power out. Whereas the TH400 has a 248 first gear, and you get more torque multiplication off the line, and you have to do a lot of tuning to manage that power off the line. But for your setup at your power level, I think a TH400 would be better than the Power Glide. Stainbank 601 said, yeah, it's leaf spring. Leaf spring stuff seems to work really good with Caltrax on it. James SSR 23, I saw a 03 Cobra with Manly heads on Parts Farm for 3K. That ain't bad. What kind of timing was I running at 20 PSI on E85? I want to say I was running like 16 degrees of timing. So, Bear, the thing about timing is it really helps to get on the dyno when you're trying to dial your timing in, because the style of the combustion chamber on the head is going to determine how much timing the engine wants. And what you do is you keep adding timing until you stop picking up horsepower. And when you stop picking up horsepower, you usually want to pull like a degree or two back down to keep it safe. And that's if you're on a fuel that can handle all that timing. Because you can always throw more timing at an engine before it starts to ping, but it might not necessarily pick up any horsepower, so it's really pointless to throw any more timing past the max amount of horsepower timing number that you're going to put into it. Suspension thoughts? Zachary Salazar. Team Z, man. Team Z and baseline suspensions. I would go to those two for any type of suspension on a stock suspension Mustang. Grown man babysitter is code. Speak for a type of management because it's true. I've been in management since 1987. Been with Amazon for the last 7 years. Smart man. Yeah, I definitely in a management position now. I've only been there for like a year, so I'm still kind of getting my feet wet with it. But it's definitely it's got its ups and downs. It's definitely different than being out there with my hands, working with my hands, getting things, doing the manual labor thing. But hey, it's a natural progression as you move up in your career. You're gonna start moving into managing people instead of being the guy out there doing the work. Body Shot Jake, Vortex 2-valve, I'll let you know. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of questions on here, MacGyver. It's cool, man. I did this video to answer as many questions as I could, man. My inbox gets filled up with questions, and I have not replied to a lot of people because I have not had time, and people will ask and ask and ask and ask. And when you have 10 people doing that, it's too much. It's just too much. PI heads mostly ported non-PI pistons. Okay, the non-PI pistons just have less of a dish, and that raises the compression ratio, Corey. I guess I must have maybe read that comment wrong or something. I never heard of Manly heads for the 2 valves. I thought maybe that you meant Manly rods or something, James, because I thought maybe that was a typo. There are no Manly heads for a modular motor, so I don't know what they meant by that post. There is no aftermarket head for a 4 valve anyways. PI heads are underrated. They make a lot of power. Yeah, they definitely do, Stang Bang. Like I said, I know of some people that have been mid to high 160s in the quarter with PI heads, and they weren't even, I want to say they were probably in the mid 20s for boost, so they weren't even really pushing it. Yeah, that's some old school stuff, Fat Boy Racing. I mean, you can get down with the 2-speed Power Glide. It's just I like the TH400. We need a 2-valve message board. Yeah, we do. Kenny, the only thing I don't like about the 6R80 for a high horsepower is the starting line ratio. I don't like how short the first and second gear are in the 6R80. It just makes it a little more the power harder to be manageable. Man, this video is going long, guys. I'm probably gonna cut it here in a few. 4R70, I can't cross brands, LOL. Yeah, I was stuck with the 4R70 for a while, Corey, and I started to kind of get to the limits of some of the stock parts in it. And I got my good friend Cameron locally to me that builds TH400s for a living and does a really good job at it, and I just went the TH400 route. Fat Boy Racing, grown man babysitter. I mean, I manage people, man. In the aircraft maintenance industry. All fab work done on my car by the shop. Maverick is good for 750 chassis wise. Is I think a 25.5 is good to a 750. I think, right? Maybe it's something even lower, like a 25.3 or something. I've seen new edges, V6s go for $800 in Florida. Good starting point for a drag car. Yeah, absolutely, James. I've been seeing a lot of V6s go for really cheap prices, and I've thought about snagging one up and doing something with it for the old lady to race in. Adrian Macklin said, "Can you give me a shout out for my YouTube channel?" Adrian Macklin. So it's guys, it's his name. Y'all go check him out. Thanks for the advice. Love your videos and keep them coming. No problem, brother. Hey, y'all make sure to go check out Adrian Macklin's videos. Check out his YouTube channel. If you're doing Mustang stuff on there, even better. 96 and 98, 4.6 bottom end with PI heads will make around 10.5 to 1 compression. Yeah, I know it gets up there with the non-PI, with the PI heads on the non-PI bottom head, or non-PI bottom end. James, where are you going to launch the message board at? I appreciate it, Fat Boy Racing. You've been here since the beginning, man. I know you've been commenting on videos since the beginning whenever I was well below 1,000 subscribers, so I appreciate you sticking around through all my nonsense. 2-valve only. Yeah. No 4-valve or LS, guys. 2-valve mod motor, guys. 25.3 for 750s. Okay. Yeah, I'm not too up to date on my cage certifications. PI heads flow very well. I remember the old Dart cast heads back in the late 80s, and the PI heads flow close to those numbers, but for a 281 cubic engine, and the stock cam has a lot of lift. Yeah, the PI heads flow pretty good, crush factor. I'd have to agree. How much boost on PI heads, spot fours, internals? Corey asked. Corey, it's all about how much fuel system you have and how far you're willing to push it, man. $25.5 is good to $7.5. Okay. Yeah, because I know you get down to like $25.3 and all that stuff, and you start putting even more bars in the car. Yeah, I'm definitely going to come over and subscribe to the channel, Adrian. Bear, did I answer your question? What timing am I running at 20 PSI on the 85? 20 PSI on the 85, I'm running about 16 degrees of timing. Free message board software I will buy / donate the URL GoDaddy. I'm cool with that, James. I definitely hop on there and be part of that. Justin Shipley has a supercharged 4.6 2-valve Crown Victoria. Failed the block tester, pulled the heads, but the gasket seemed fine. What do you think? I'm not sure, man. It's tough to diagnose that stuff without being there. I would, Dylan, I would go auto for sure. If you're wanting to stay with the Ford transmission, I would stick to the 4R70. If you're willing to go to a different transmission, I'd probably go TH400. What's up, Mike? Yeah, no problem, Fat Boy Racing. All right, James, sounds good, brother. A D1X Pro Charger? I'd toss a D1X on a 2-valve. I think my feed froze up. Yeah, no problem, Fat Boy Racing. All right, James, sounds good, brother. A D1X Pro Charger? I'd toss a D1X on a 2-valve. All right, guys. So the video's been going on for like was it like 78 minutes now? So starting to lose some viewers and whatnot. Jeremy, what's up, man? I'm probably about to end this thing here in a couple of minutes. The mannequin challenge. Yeah, I was froze up. I just noticed it on the phone. Yeah, no problem, James. Hey guys, I really appreciate everyone tuning in. I hope I was able to answer everyone's questions. I did my best to get in here and talk with you guys and reply to all your comments. I had a lot of them coming, so if I missed someone, I apologize. I did not do it intentionally. Once again, thanks everyone for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and y'all stay tuned. I'm gonna be doing a video on my aerospace brakes here in the next couple of days. So I hope everyone has a great rest of the little bit that's left of your weekend, and I will talk to you guys later.